more. Sorry. Well, what do we know about the sources of this acceleration of melting on Greenland? Specifically, my project was there to look at decreasing albedo or darkening of the surface, and whether or not that is absorbing more light. That's one factor. Is that a significant factor, or are there others that may be most important that we should be looking at?
I think most of the people that work on the mass balance of the Greenland ice sheet uh, are looking at just the simple temperature rise as the main issue. But the albedo of a glacier is always critical to how much of the solar radiation it can absorb and hence use to heat this ice or snow and then melt it. So albedo is always a role, always has a role. And the higher and the more dust, more particulates you get, the more that will enhance melt. But it's still temperature is still going to be the biggest driving force there. Now you also can think about where that's going to be most prevalent. And it just depends where you look. If you look, some people have talked about the Himalayan glaciers and dust and black carbon being deposited there. Well, in those glaciers, the lower part of those glaciers is really debris covered, and so you throw a little dust and black carbon, it doesn't really matter. Also, that those glaciers are unusual in that most of their snowfall occurs in the summer during the monsoon in the Himalaya. And so, again, that buries any black carbon or dust. So there's this area of the Himalayan glacier, is a smaller area between the debris cover and the main area of accumulation where that material could be at the surface. Now, if you think of the Greenland ice sheet, we need that dust and debris to be at the surface to do its damage. And so, the places that have been particularly noticeable is actually in the area where the snowpack has been lost. And we see the darkening of the ice itself. Because you have all these layers of dust. And if you melt down the ice, you're just all these layers, annual layers of ice, each have a little bit of dust in them. But then if that can just continue to, that doesn't melt away, it doesn't run off as well. And so it's retained and increases.
Okay. Well, is there anything that I haven't asked you that you think I should have asked you?
Can't think of it at this moment, but I had some questions I wanted to ask you.
Oh, okay.
And and then maybe something else will come back. And so now you've been on two field expeditions. You've happened to choose, these harsh environments. You didn't go to some beach to look at sea level rise or anything.
That's an idea.
But so what did you feel like? When you went to Greenland, you have these big ambitions, and then kind of like the Antarctic expedition, you can't meet them all. What did you see as things that you'd like to have gotten out of it that you didn't?
Well, there's a possibility that we might have a return trip, although that's very tenuous rumor at this point. I think it was just a learning experience for me in terms of the logistics, and we tried a lot of things based on having a smaller budget than maybe other expeditions might have, and some of them worked. Other things didn't work. We felt we did a pretty good job of on the communication end. We wish we could have gotten more samples, but that's largely a function of chopper time, and we had some organizational uh, uh, infrastructure kind of problems with that. And but what I got out of it was just a huge appreciation for the number of things that can go wrong in this kind of a project, and what I was hearing from Greenland scientists on the ground there is uh, it reminds me of that line from the end of Chinatown. Never mind, it's Chinatown. Well, never mind, it's Greenland. Things happen here, and who knows why. Uh, Once you come to Greenland with a plan, and then the plan goes out the window, and then you go to Plan B, and then you go to Plan C, and you just kind of you try to make things work as best you can. But what I've been telling people over and over is just what great admiration I have for folks like yourself and for Jason Box, who was in the midst of a lot of kind of difficulties and chaos, really extremely creative, extremely resilient, and I think we managed to salvage a lot of decent data and observations that maybe without that creativity we might not have.
Yeah, so I think you can see that it's not necessarily there's logistical advantages to just joining kind of an ongoing operation that knows what they're going to do, how they're going to do it. Uh, in Greenland, that might be just going out with the people that do the K-tram sector ablation stakes there. Uh, but you're also gonna get exactly you're not going to get anything addition. I mean, they were going to get that whether you came or not. You're just going to record what they had. And so anytime you do an expedition like you did with Jason, the risk is, all right, you're trying something new, which means problems. But that's also the only way to then plan the next time and the next time to get it all right. I mean,
Right.
the first time out, you never get it right with these adventures. And that's what the scientific research in these areas, they really, first and foremost, it's logistics and staying safe and alive. It's an adventure.
Right, and one of what I came away with from joining your team in the Cascades was the sheer physical challenge of getting up and down those glaciers. Not only physical exhaustion challenge, but a safety challenge in terms of all the hazards that are there. That was a difficult and occasionally a little daunting place to be, and so I came away with unbelievable respect, not only for you but also for Ben and Jill, who have been going with you for the last few years. It's an astounding undertaking, really.
So what do you have in mind for expeditions in the future?
Well, I'm there are some ongoing conversations, but nothing set in any kind of stone yet. I was fortunate enough to go to Iceland this past fall for a conference that was very successful, and we're planning to go next year and to get into more of the fjord and backcountry areas to do some filming, so I'm told. So that's kind of in the future, but still sort of a lot of haze around anything that might happen this summer.